Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining this session. We're going to start in a minute with this session on guidance to applicants. Okay, good morning, everyone. I'm glad to welcome you to this session of our actually last day of the Innovations Day for the call Innovation 2024. My name is Anne-Laure Aslanian. I'm a program officer at EIT Urban Mobility, and I'm going to give you today some practical information guidance on actually how to submit your proposal to Plaza, which is actually our online submission tool. As you can see in the screen right after me, we have a proposal writing workshop. So if you're interested in having some tips and tricks on how to actually write your proposal, we definitely recommend you to stay with us after this session. The session will be recorded and will be available on the B2Match platform, but also in the website of the call. So in the coming days, you will see the slides, but also the link of this session. At the end of this session, we will have a Q&A. So you will have the chance to post your questions. Please use the Q&A feature for that, not the chat, okay? It's easiest for us to go through all the questions and then tailor and then answer them. We will also probably have fact documents, so frequent asked questions, also in our website. So if you missed this session or you want to go back to one specific questions that were discussed during this week, actually, you can always go back to these documents. Okay, so without further delay, I think we can start with some main features on the call. This is actually a reminder for you if you've already participated in the other previous webinars, mainly on Monday, we have actually provided this information about some data on the calendar of the call. We launched the call on the 6th of April, 2023. The deadline is actually the 7th of June, 2023 at 5 o'clock. Barcelona time. This is really important that you probably know. You have most of your experience with your project, I guess. You know that you don't have to miss this deadline and this timing. If you submit your proposal even 1 minute after the deadline, it's already too late. So please take into account this date and of course this timing. After the submission and the deadline of the call, we will go through an eligibility and admissibility check. I want to go through just as a reminder also after that. We will do that during the month of June. Every proposal we are actually eligible and admissible will go through an external evaluation, which is the first stage of the evaluation process during the months of July and August. And the proposal will actually pass the first stage will be invited to hearings during the month of October, which is the final stage of the evaluation process. So the communication of the results are expected to be communicated in October, November, and we also expect the project to start on the 1st of January, 2024. The total EIT funding available is 8 million in total, including 1 million for risk countries. And you can have a little bit more of information on the call calendar and the requirements in the call manual, and you have the link here. As I said before, this is also a reminder from a previous session of this week. Admissibility and eligibility check, these are the main requirements that your proposal needs to comply with in order to be eligible, to pass the first, let's say, step for your proposal to be evaluated. So the first thing, and this is something I'm going to explain further, is the registration. So you need to have each participant, not only the lead applicant, but all the partners in the consortium need to have a PIC number and also to be registered in our Plaza platform. In terms of consortium members, at least 3 independent entities from 2 different countries from the EU member states or third countries associated to Horizon Europe will be requested. A minimum of 1 SME, small, medium-sized enterprise, and 1 commercialization partner, but also a minimum of 2 demo hosts. So it can be either a city, municipal government, an entity with a direct links with the city, or a private company with an existing concession. In terms of country, as we said before, so EU member states, third countries associated to Horizon Europe, but also entities from Switzerland and the UK, they can participate with certain conditions. So we really recommend you to contact us in case you are a partner from these countries. In principle, you are not going to receive any EAT funding unless it's below 60K. So there are special conditions. So we recommend you to contact us. And there are also special conditions for Hungarian Public Interest Trust. For now, they have a lot of restriction to participate. So the same message here, come to us and ask if you are in this situation. Regarding the percentage of co-funding, it is 33% across the project. That means that partners in the consortium can have a different percentage, as long as the overall percentage of the project meets these requirements of 33% minimum. For the risk applicants, this is an individual co-funding rate of 20%. And finally, the KPIs, as you already probably know, they are mandatory KPIs, minimum mandatory KPIs that each proposal needs to comply with. And we have at least 1 target, 1 marketed innovation, and 2 demo or pilots living lab during the duration of this project. Again, more information in section 5 of the call manual. So now I'm going to give you some practical information on how actually to submit your proposal in Plaza, our online submission tool. What are the steps and what you need to consider and to do before submitting your proposal by the deadline. So the very first thing, each organization in the project, not only the project leader, but also the consortium partners need to do are actually the registration in the EC Funding and Tender Opportunities portal to obtain the PIC. The PIC is actually a partner identification code. This is mainly a code that every single entity needs to have in order to submit proposal to any European funding program. What does that mean? It means that if you are already familiar, you have already some experience with EU funding program, you have already submitted a proposal to any EU funding programs, you should probably have already a PIC number. In this case, you don't need to go back and register it again, just check that information that you have provided at the time is still correct. But if you don't have any PIC number, this is a mandatory step for you. So you click on the link, which you can see here, and you follow the steps. It will take only you 10 minutes, really. And with this, you will have a PIC number in order for you to use for your application in Plaza. You will also have more information in the forthcoming guidelines for applicants that will be published in also the call of the website of the call. The second step is actually, whenever you have the PIC, is to register your organization in Plaza. So again, not only the lead partner, but all the partner participating in the project will actually need to register in Plaza. So after getting your PIC, you go to this link, and this is, again, another mandatory step, which actually needs an approval from our services, validation services. So it usually takes 2 working days maximum. So we really recommend you, it's a call to action for today or the following days to actually register as soon as possible, because whenever you wait, the more you wait, the less time you will have to actually submit and prepare your proposal in the platform. Without this step, you cannot continue the following process. So registration are already open, and we close 2 days before the deadline. So this is why we really recommend, and we've seen there are already some participants and draft proposal in the platform. So you can already do that. Even though you are not pretty 100% sure you are going to apply, at least this is a step which is done, and you can even use it for other calls. So this step will be already done. The third actually step for the partner registration process is to complete your partner information form. Again, this is mandatory and this is individual. So each partner in your consortium will actually need to complete all the fields of this form. Remember, in the admissibility and eligibility check, this is something we're going to check whether all the parts are completed and whether you meet the requirements, because this is where we can identify whether you are eligible, you meet with the requirements of the call, you have a PIC number, etc. So we really need this form to be completed before you continue with the process. If actually your organization is has already a PIF because you have already participated in another call or you have done the registration already, you don't need to do this again, but just go and check if the data provided are correct. You can always update it, and if you have any questions, you can always ask our service desk to help you for that. So actually, once all the organizations, all the partners in your consortium have been registered, you can and approved in our system, then the project leader will be actually asked to create a proposal in Plaza. I've just put here a screenshot of the patient information form, which is the green icon here. This is what you will see in the Plaza website when you go and enter in this webpage. So what to do? You've done the registration. All of the partners are ready. The lead partner again will be the one who will actually draft the proposal and submit the proposal. So you go there and you click on the Plaza link, and you will see this actually. So before that, actually, sorry, you will see in this website a dashboard with a call for proposal list. You click on Open Call for Innovation 2024, and this is what you will see. This window will appear, and you will actually need to add a new proposal. Following this step, you will see a window with a different tab to fill in. Okay, in this case, for this call, there are 5 tabs, sorry, to be completed by the lead partner. And I'm going to go through them each individually, so you know exactly what we are asking for. And if you have any questions, as we say, you can post them in the Q&A feature. So starting with the tab 0, which is the start here, information. Actually, this is where you give information on which call are you applying to. So this is the very first important step where you will select as area innovation. For the execution period, I think it's already set up from the duration of your project from January 2024 to September 31st, 2024. The segment here, you are of course free to decide the segment you are actually selecting, either energy, logistics, or future mobility. And then you put a title, a project title of your activity, the project acronym, something shorter that can easily describe your project. The generated ID, this is something automatic that the system generates, and then the start and end date, this is also something which is already preset in the system. And you finally put a project description for public dissemination. So here we are asking you to provide a short paragraph of description of your project and expected impact. Of course, in case you are selected, we will definitely go back to this information and make sure the information you are putting here is accessible to the public, and we can actually share it for dissemination purposes. Whenever the first tab is actually ready, you click on Save button, and if you want to continue with the following step and go to tab 1, you need to click on Check and Save. If you don't do that, actually you will never be able to continue with the following tab. So even though you haven't finalized your tab, for instance, I really recommend you to always click on Save button, and then you can go back to that and you continue maybe the following days or whatever, but at least the information is saved in the system. And when you've done, you can go and check and save. You can always also go back to that. If you've done the check and save, you continue with the process, but I missed some information, or I want to correct some data, you can always go back to the tab, edit the tab, and then continue the step. You complete, you update, you save, and you check and save. So this is it for the tab 0. The tab number 1 is actually contact details. So here we are mainly displaying, asking for the lead partner contact details. So as I said, the coordinator will be the one submitting the proposal, drafting and submitting the proposal. So we need the contact details of this organization and the name of the person who will do that. But we also need to have all the involved organization included in the system. So again, for the previous step of the registration, the lead partner will be actually able to select from the list, from the drop-down list, the name of the organization they actually would like to have in the consortium. And then you list them, as you can see on the screen. And you confirm also there are actually 3 project partners which are independent of each other. And then you continue with the following step, which is tab number 2. In tab number 2, with the activity overview, we are actually asking you the content of your proposal. We start with general information of the project purposes, the scope, the impact, etc. You will see in every tab, in every questions next to it, there is this question mark in blue. When you click on it, you have an explanation which is displayed, which is a help text, where you can actually further understand what we are asking for next to each of the questions. Okay, so we recommend always to check what is written, what is explained in these boxes, and then you edit and you stop typing your the content of your project. Okay, you can see here at the project proposal, project partner role, skill and expertise. The project, this is an example here, for instance, for EITM mobility in our CLC's centers, but you will see there, you will see the list, and you will also see at the bottom, you will see from where the country, from where they come from, the CLC they potentially belong, who is leading the proposal, and the risk, if they actually belongs to a risk country or not. You always have those. You can always go back to the link of the risk country in the call manual, but also the system automatically recognize if the organization is a risk country or not. If we continue with the activity overview, we have here the key outputs and the key deliverables. So what you actually need to do is to click on the plus green button here, and you add as many output and deliverables you need to add according to your activity. Remember that for the deliverables, we have a list of mandatory deliverables, which are explained in the call manual. So please go always and refer to the call manual whenever you are at this stage to make sure you at least fit with the minimum requirements in terms of deliverables, and then you can even add a few additional more if it's really needed, but at least you cover the mandatory minimum deliverables. We also ask you to put an expected date, a responsible organization, and something which is new for this year is the contributors. We also would like to understand who is contributing to each output, deliverables, and KPIs, which I'm going to show you now. So as you can see, there are a lot of changes in the platform from previous years. If you know already the platform, but we have introduced a few items such as the contributors and tab 3, some additional information regarding KPIs. We are also always asking mandatory core KPIs and in some cases a specific KPI. So I've put here just an example what the call manual is actually referring to in terms of core KPI. So I have listed them here, such just as an example. Core KPI marketed innovation and or risk marketed innovation are mandatory core KPIs. So this is at least one target value needs to be fit in here. And again, you put a responsible organization and a contributor next to it. And then it's up to you whether to add additional KPIs based on the list. It will be positively assessed during the evaluation. But at least you need to have the mandatory core KPI uploaded here. And then we continue with the specific KPIs. And here, at least one is mandatory, which is the demonstration pilot level labs. In this case, it's target value 2. I've put here, sorry, but it's a 2. And I've put also as examples other specific KPIs that can be added if you believe your activity, your project fit with one of them. And then you continue with the risk management and contingency plan. You identify the risk and you explain the risk and you explain how a mitigation of this risk. And finally, with the activity tab 2, always with the activity overview, we ask some project management structure, the KTI integration, communication and dissemination plan, your commercial strategy, which is very important, linked to the financial sustainability model that you are going to select. And we finish with the gender and diversity dimension and the ethics. So you can always, what we actually recommend you to do is to always have the call manual with you whenever you are preparing your application form, because every section, every question that we are asking you are linked to an evaluation criteria. So it's good that in section 5, you look at the evaluation criteria list and you always make sure you answer properly the questions and you make sure you are addressing what the evaluators will actually look for when they will assess your proposal. So we are done with the tab 2. We continue with the tab 3. In tab 3, we are talking about project keywords. This is actually some keywords we need to, each proposal needs to report for statistics purposes for the European Union. So you can define your own keywords, just entering your keywords manually, at least 3, and it's a maximum of 5. But you also have some predefined keywords. And here you need to actually, there is a button, you refresh the button and you click also on the green plus button and you will see displaying a few options and you select the keywords that best also describe your activity or your project. It's also a minimum of 3 and a maximum of 5. If we continue, there is another tab 3 called 3B with project-specific information. And here there are 8 questions. And these questions are pretty much linked to the call and to, again, the requirements of the call and the evaluation criteria. So again, in this case here, you have displayed all the questions and you have an explanation below. So you can, again, understand what we are looking for here and go to the call manual if you have any doubt about some of them. So for instance, the current state of the art, the TRL level, the business model and product, the market potential, an explanation of the demo requirements in the cities, and the startup creation in case you contribute to a specific core KPI 4.4. In addition to that, as you already know, in the call manual, there are some templates, some mandatory additional document that you need to submit together with this application form, which is the business model CAVA. You can see a template in the web page of the call, a financial plan also, again, you can actually use the template for that. The city declaration is actually mandatory only if it's needed, meaning if you are a new entity with a direct link with a city or with a municipality, and you haven't been previously validated in our system in Plaza as affiliated entity, then you need to attach a declaration to explain the link, this legal link actually between the city and the organization. And as optional, you can also add, for instance, the project Gantt chart if you want to, but again, this is not mandatory. We continue with tab 4, sustainability. Here we are actually have, so we had a previous session yesterday from our colleagues from sustainability, regarding the sustainability mechanism, and they have explained the model. You can go back to this session, the recording, if you want to have a little bit more of information. With what you actually need to do here is actually to select, based on the commercial partner, to select who is actually the commercial partner, and to add some some information on the number of employees, the turnover, the balance sheet, etc. You need to choose here the type of commercial partner, either type A, B, and C. And again, yesterday during the session, they explained more in details what these types mean. The majority of you most likely will select type A, so general commercial partner. But if you have any doubt, any questions, we really recommend you to go back to this session. And in any case, we will be happy to answer your questions. My colleague who deals with this topic will be happy to answer your questions if needed. We continue with tab 5, which is actually the budget. So here, what you are going to do is to add for each task the title of the task, the tab, a description, and the task leader. And we need for each of them, each task, to actually add per partner the budget you are requesting to. Okay, so this is what you will see in the different steps. The budget is actually, we use the same type of costs that Arise in Europe is using. We have a document for that, when a small and agile document, when we can always rely on to understand the mechanism, the financial aspect of this call. It's eligibility of expenditure document, which is already published in the website of the call. And here we explain the type of costs you can have, also the obligation on financial reporting, and so on. But just to give you an example, here you can list, so what type of cost are you going to have? So the personal costs are the most usual one. So you put how many personal costs you have per year and per, so in this case 2024, and per organization. The subcontracting cost, if you have any, you need to outsource a small amount of task to an external entity because the consortium is not able to do that internally. You have travel cost, equipment, or the goods and services, and so on. The indirect costs are calculated automatically. As you can see here, they correspond to 25% on top of the total direct cost. Okay, so you don't need to calculate it yourself. It's done automatically whenever you actually fill in the different cells here. And you have to do the same with the co-funding. As you know, the co-funding is a mandatory requirement. If you are a non-risk country, you need to add 33% of co-funding. If you are a risk country, you have a minimum of 20%. So you need to put here a description and manually what this where this actually co-funding come from different sources. It can be your own funding, your own resources, but it can be also from another non-EIT project, national, regional funding, etc. And this will, if you have different sources, this will also be calculated automatically. You save and check as usual, check and save, and then you continue. Whenever you have different tasks, you continue to do the same for each of the tasks and each of the partner. Whenever you have done this, actually, you will see in your screen a summary of your cost per project partner. So here, as you can see, we have a different type of partner, risk and non-risk countries, and this is where you will be able to actually see the split, and you will be able to know, okay, this amount of money we go to risk country, and this amount of money of budget we go to non-risk country. Actually, I just wanted to stop here just for a second to remind you actually the rule of the risk applicants and the benefits you are actually granted by participating in this type of call. So risk applicants, you have the list here in this link. As we said, you are eligible for a reduced co-funding rate of 20%. And you are also eligible to receive additional dedicated support from the Risk Innovation Program. So in invitation to events, promotion opportunities, dedicated training, etc. There are, as we said, there is a budget of 1 million for allocated to risk applicants, but of course we understand this budget can be limited depending on how many applications we receive from risk countries. This is why actually we will prioritize the risk support through several criteria. They are published on the call manual, but I wanted just to show it again here. So new entities from underrepresented risk countries, and you have the list here, will be the first criteria. The second, entities from underrepresented risk countries that have not already participated and received EIT funding from the innovation program. A new entity from the countries of Spain, Czech Republic, Italy, and Portugal that have not yet received EIT funding from innovation program. Okay, in any case, you as applicant, if you are a risk applicant, you would directly fill in your budget as a risk applicant, and this is during the assessment, and whenever you are invited and you are selected, this is where we will actually calculate and see, okay, yes, you are eligible, let's say, to apply and to get this risk budget, or you actually, and this 20%, or you actually, it's over, we have the budget limited and it's full, and you will actually not be eligible for that. But this is something that we will discuss with you during the conditions clearing phase, where we negotiate the conditions before the project gets started. And finally, with the tab 5 of the budget, you just need to introduce a justification and explanation of the cost. Whenever you have put personnel, subcontracting, travel, etc., you need to click on edit and explain at the consortium level, what are you going to use this money for, this budget for, and which activities. When this is done, you are over, you've done with your application form. You can, as I said, always go back before you do the submission. You can always go back and edit each of the tab if you want to. But if you're done and everything is ready to be submitted, you will see in the first page of the call for proposals, you will be able to, if you are different calls, different proposals, sorry, you can with the code select the ones that you would like to submit, and checking that all the tabs are completed, and then you click on submit button. And I just wanted to finish my presentation with some tips and tricks before the submission. As I said, I will repeat it. It's so you also remember this, the message. You always need to save your changes. Be careful before, if you are entering everything in the platform and you don't do the same, you might lose all your work. So please remember to save. And whenever you're ready, you click on the check and save, and you continue with the other tabs. Register your organization in Plaza as early as possible. This is what I told you already. I'm repeating myself, but it's really a call to action for you. If this is the first time, don't wait until the end and do this already today. Before you submit your proposal, make sure your proposal fulfills all the core requirements. Your proposal is complete, readable, and written in English. And all the consortium partners have actually obtained the PIC and are registered in Plaza with a PIF completed. Don't wait until the deadline to do your submission, because you probably know we might have technical problems due to the overload of the system at the last minute. So do that. At least we recommend to do that as early as possible and at least 2 days before the deadline. Then it's up to you to organize yourself, but don't wait really until the end. And also the last message is only one proposal submission is allowed. Okay, so in this case, it's not like for instance, in Horizon Europe, where you can actually submit whenever a number of submission you would like, number of proposal. In this case, when you do the submission, is only once and it's final. Okay. Before moving on with the Q&A, I just wanted to share with you some useful links and contact details. Again, if you have troubles or you have questions regarding the PIC, you can go to the EU portal, the help desk. We can help you. If you have questions regarding our online platform, Plaza, you have here the service desk email address. And finally, whenever you have questions regarding the topic, the content of the call, you can always contact the innovation team, and you can contact PMO, so us, myself, or my colleagues for administrative, financial, and rules-related questions. As I said, right after me at 11, there is this workshop, proposal writing workshop. So stay with us if you're interested in listening to a little bit more on how to actually make a good proposal and get success.